Kenneth. The poem is as follows. And some of you may have heard it, for it exists on your planet. There was a young lady named Bright who set out at the speed of light. She set out one day in a relative way and arrived the previous night. The idea is that is how flexible your reality is. And when you harmonize fully with your higher self, you will understand that the speed of light is nothing but the vibration that represents the edge of your particular reality construct. It is, in that sense, a side effect of the rate at which you are aware of creating your reality. When you allow yourself the opportunity to recognize that every single creative moment is instantaneously created, when you create greater degrees of difference between one created reality moment and the next, when you recognize a greater difference between one parallel reality and the next, instead of shifting to ones that are so similar to your own you cannot tell that anything has changed, when you create that high degree of difference, you will climb toward, in vibration, the idea of the speed of light. And as you begin to match more closely that frequency, your physical reality will start to come unglued. It will start to dissolve. Space and time will be flexible, malleable. You will find yourself arriving places before you began. You will allow yourself to allow space and time to become slippery. You will marvel at the synchronicities that pop up simultaneously in your reality. Many of them, again, will turn your lives into what you have always dreamed of as fairy tales, but which you will discover is the way that reality actually works. Let go of your constructs through this 5-year span. Let go of the idea that things have to be done a certain way. Let go of the old idea of who you think you need to be. Let go of the old ideas of beliefs that do not work for you. Let go of the things that are not yours. You do not need to carry them around. Let go, let go, let go. When you vibrate closer to the speed of light, you will become, as you match the frequency of your reality, you will become the reality itself, or as we have said, ascension and acceleration is simply the recognition that you actually are the reality that you previously thought you existed in. That you are the dimension of reality that you previously thought you existed in. There will become less difference between you and the reality itself. You will begin to understand, clearly understand, that everything you experience in the reality is a version of you, is a symbol of you, is a reflection of you. This does not invalidate anyone else, for everyone else is having exactly the same experience of seeing everything in the reality as a reflection of them. And thus, when you match that frequency, things will move together. You can, in that sense, literally move mountains, because they will be a part of you, an extension of you. You will understand this. You will have clarity of this. You will understand you are the mountain. You are the trees. You are the birds. You are the bees. Allow yourself this recognition in this 5-year span. Do not resist. Do not resist. Do not resist. For if you do, you will find that the pain will only grow, the negativity will only expand, things will become far more difficult for you, and we do not wish this upon you. But if you choose to wish this upon yourselves, always we will honor your choice, and so will creation, because it supports everything that you choose to create, without exception, without exception, without exception. Except me? No. No exception. Please remember, in your search for humility, that thinking you are an exception to the rule of being supported by creation is actually the most arrogant attitude you can have. Because you are saying that you, out of all of creation, are singled out to be the exception where creation doesn't work for you. That is arrogance. Relax into the understanding that you are given the gift, the great gift, that life is meaningless. It has no built-in meaning. You are given the gift of determining what life means to you at every given moment. And more so in this 5-year span will this become ever more important for you to label life in the way that you prefer, for you to label all circumstances and all situations in the way that you prefer. Even if your physical mind and ego construct cannot always intellectually understand what that positive result may be, just remind yourself, physical mind does not know or is not capable of knowing how it's going to serve you. All it needs to do is know that it will, and higher self will show you that it will. Guaranteed, if you work with it in that way. And I remind you, once again, through this 5-year span, to, by all means, strongly apply the overriding principle that we have discussed recently, that is the fulcrum point and the balance point of all that you experience in physical reality. Circumstances do not matter. Only state of being matters. Circumstances are the result of state of being. State of being is not the result of circumstances. You may choose to create circumstances that reinforce certain states of being, but the state of being is what caused the circumstances, and thus the circumstances are illusory, not real, a reflection, a hallucination, a projection. Thus then, when you see circumstances, neutralize them, be neutral to them. Do not imbue them with meaning you do not prefer. Take that moment of pause and then infuse them with the meaning that you do prefer, so that they can then give you the effect that you would prefer. And remember, physical reality, being one of space-time, will always have echoes. Do not judge that you have changed by whether or not the outside has changed. Gauge that you have changed by how you now respond to the outside, whether it is changed or not. That's how you know you've changed. Not because of how the outside looks. It's how you respond to it that makes the difference. And then things can change, because if you respond differently to something that looks the same, that's the statement that says you've really changed, and then the outside can reflect that. But if you do it, if you say, I'm going to change within, in order to get the outside change, you are still doing it in reverse fashion. We remind you of all these principles now, because these are the principles, this is the toolkit that you need to keep handy through this 5-year span. Draw upon these tools, sharpen these tools, use these tools in this 5-year span. This is where you want to fine-tune your engine. This 5 years is specifically energetically designed to fine-tune your engine, to allow you to pass through the conduit, to allow you to tip the scale, to allow you to ride the wave of the collective positive energy that will begin to seed your world, to infuse your world after your threshold crossing in the middle of 2012. Get yourselves ready. Fine-tune yourselves. Do not leave a single nut or bolt lying on the ground. Put it all together. It will then work. It will fit. It will work flawlessly if you let it. This 5-year span, if you do that, you will afford us the opportunity, along with many others who are preparing eventually for open contact. It will allow us that much more facility also to use your collective energy to harmonize and make agreements with your collective energy to help balance the energy of your planet, to help smooth out any shift mechanisms that might heretofore have been experienced catastrophically, and smooth them out into easy transitions, smooth transitions, little bumps instead of massive mountains. As you do this during this 5-year span, we will be working intimately with you in your dream states on many different energy levels in the template reality with your higher selves to smooth and balance out the energy of your world with you. We will not do it for you. We cannot do it for you, but we can do it with you. So if you will do your part in this 5-year span, we will then be capable of doing our part more effectively, because after all we have to work with is your energy. It's your planet. It's your world. You have to make the decision of how you want that energy to go, and we will aid and assist in the balancing of it so that the transitions can be smooth, but you must also play your part, or you give us less to work with. And we can only do so much. We are, in that sense, only allowed to do so much because we cannot do it for you and remove your responsibility. Just allow yourselves to know that you will not be alone in this transition. You will not be alone in this span, that you will be working with us, and as you harmonize yourself and sensitize yourself as a greater antenna for these higher frequencies, you will become aware of the work more and more that we are doing together on higher planes all the time. Your dreams will reflect this. Your inspirations will reflect this. Your imagination will reflect this. Your synchronicity will certainly reflect this. Guaranteed. And by the time you arrive at 2015, you will, well, maybe even quite literally, some of you, be beside yourself. The idea is that this 5-year span is an extremely accelerative moment in space-time construction. We will help you ride that wave on the balance point so that it can be the most powerful redirecting of energy that it can be. Remember that in all martial arts, the true power is in matching the frequency of your attacker and arriving at the balance point where neither of you are moving relative to one another. When both are harmonized relative to one another, it takes the lightest touch to redirect the energy of a negative attack, because there is no great momentum or inertia to overcome, because you are moving in total harmony with one another. And as we have said, and we will remind you of now, the greatest power requires the lightest touch. That is why the greatest power there is, creation, all that is, God, Goddess, whatever you wish to call it, that's why you hardly feel it at all unless you really pay attention. That's how powerful it is. It does not have to exercise will over things. It does not have to flaunt its power over things. Why? Because it is everything. Therefore, everything moves within it. Everything moves in accordance with it, and you do not feel it because its momentum and yours are perfectly matched. When you allow yourselves the true recognition of that perfectly matched momentum, you will feel the same flow, you will feel the same power, and you will marvel at the effortlessness required to allow things to start manifesting synchronicity in your life. It will become almost laughably simple, and you will laugh. So, allow yourselves the opportunity to work with us in this way, to allow the agenda to unfold that leads to the idea of open contact, and allow us to remind you that when we talk about the idea of contact, we are not just talking about the idea of contacting those that come from elsewhere, but contacting every single aspect of your own consciousness and integrating it all into a holistic being. The holistic being with whom we have made the agreement to have contact. We will all arrive together at that contact point. You are on your way. You are well on your way. Use this 5-year span wisely, joyfully, creatively, lovingly, in a relaxed, effortless manner. Do not fret. Relax. Enjoy. And share.